Yep. A and Group B here. We can see that at the top of Group A, we have the Pit Ponies, led by Marine and Tutankhamun, two different players representing this club. Actually, probably one of the strongest combinations we've got now. And they won all 4 matches with a huge aggregate score as well. All 12 points for them, finishing top of their group. Really happy for them. On second place and making it through to the top kind of Premiership elimination is the Decode with the Wizards. Ever so popular last season, really made a name for himself. He's back again, wants to go a little bit better than the semi-finals this time round to see if he can make it through. And then in finishing in third spot and fourth spot, we have Not Against 61 of the Wolfhounds. Really interesting kind of player arc there. Last season, he didn't get a single point. Was very unlucky with one of the time controls. He was 2-0 down in this first match here. Came back to make it 2-2 and actually had our first ever Armageddon match, which he did win. And he's here playing again, making it around in third spot, who are without the IM Pradrada 88, last season's winner. So they'll be playing for the spots 5 to 8 this time round. And then we've also got the Pirates, which is LPJ 2306, making their deep debut season. Managed to get through. The Wrexham Robins, I'm afraid, with John 313, unfortunately weren't able to make it through. So in their debut season, they were eliminated. They were able to play some games, and hopefully you can play some more games next time and maybe get some points on the board. So that's Group A that's rounded out there. But actually, Group B was probably where my eyes were focusing on, because we had 3 title players in this group, whereas the Group A had none. So 3 title players in Group B. It really was the group of death. And I have to look at the bottom there and have to feel sorry for the Lightbringer of the Goats. And also, who was he playing against the guy? I can't remember. Let's just have a little click through of Tribal Esports. It was John 313, actually, sorry, of Tribal Esports. That's it. And Robbins was Daramos. So Tribal Esports, unfortunately, in their match against the Goats and Lightbringer, Goats was able to win that match. And both teams lost to the other 3 title players. So Lightbringer of the Goats got through to the knockout stages. Finishing in the top 3, you can see 9 points each, 4 games, 3 wins, 1 loss, each for Ethan RJ of the Artists, Bulanov of the Sea Dragons, who second last season, and also the FM, higher title than the CMs of the top 2, Welsh Tiger of Dragons RFC. And in the end, it went so close, it came down to who won more games and who lost more games. And actually, it was the Welsh Tiger who actually got the 3rd spot for the playoff and didn't make it through to the top 2. So he'll be hoping to finish off well tonight, pretty quickly, and also next week to make it through. If we then have a look at the individual matchups, so if you click through to the championship elimination, we can see the 3rd and 4th spots playing against each other here to see who'll make it through to the final next week. We've got the Wolfhounds, Not Against 61, playing against Lightbringer of the Goats. Lightbringer's probably streaming it on his own channel, which is great to see, by the way. Not Against 61 wasn't in the right spot for the first match, so he's actually lost that game, but they have started game 2 and they're continuing to play their games at the moment. So just a quick game update there. And then we've also got the Pirates against the Dragons. We've got Welsh Tiger representing the Dragons. He's a heavy favourite, being a FIDE master, against LPJ 2306 of the Pirates, which I would expect the FIDE master of the Dragons to make it through to the final. However, we've seen crazy results so far. Anything can happen. If we have a look at the Premiership elimination to see who's fighting for the top 4 spots, who will get that first place, who will become this season's Welsh Esports champion team, and maybe individual player as well. We've got a Marine is actually representing the Pit Ponies this time. He's going to be playing against Major Coast, or Bulanov of the Sea Dragons. Candidate Master Bulanov is the favourite in that match, but a bit of a spoiler, did lose the first game to Marine of the Pit Ponies. So that one is a really close match to call. They both know each other in real life as well. I know that I think they were both at the same tournament at the weekend too. So it's a real tense match, that is. Anything can happen there. And then we have the Artists with their debut season for Ethan RJ. Artist fans are absolutely loving this at the moment. Their Candidate Master, who's a real expert of online play and fast play. He's a little bit younger than everybody else. He can really do it quickly. He's super much quicker than me. Really up and coming young player in Welsh chess at the moment. And he's got, last week he was doing exams on the Wednesday afterwards. So he was giving away revision in order to make it through. Off of the group, he's playing against Decode of the Wizards. Much fancy Decode. Obviously, he's in his 2nd season. Can he use that experience to try and put Ethan RJ on the back foot? So let's dive into the games and see what's going on, because since I've been talking to you there, I don't know what the latest results are, so I'm going to be clicking through these pretty quickly. And as you can see, we're on the chess.com dashboard here. If we flick on over to that, let's have a look at, and we can see what's going on here. So you can see here that we've got some of the matches coming up here. Is it 3-0 to Ethan RJ already? It's a little small there, but if I click on it there, you can see that Ethan RJ has gone 3-0 up against Decode. It's actually, because there's only 8 games, it's kind of the race to 4.5 points. So he's 3-0 up already. We'll have a look at some of that in a second. But here you can see the game between Marine and Major Coast. Marines won that first one against the odds. That's Bulanov is Major Coast, by the way. So we'll have to click on the games individually there. For some reason, they're not pulling through. But that's the Premiership elimination. If we click on the Championship elimination, all these games are started and pulling through now. And we can see here that the Welsh Tiger is 2-0 up at the moment against LPJ 2306 of the Pirates. So Dragons are currently leading that one. And there is a pretty big rating difference there. You can see LPJ 2306 1500 rated up against the Welsh Tiger, who's nearly 2500. That's nearly 1,000 rating points online. That's an absolutely huge amount going on there. And okay, really close match here then. So this is one that's going to be a little bit too close to call. Lightbringer, very new to chess overall in terms of years played, playing against, he's representing the Goats, fantastic team, playing against the Wolfhounds, not against 61. Not against 61, didn't make the first match, went 1-0 down, but then it looks like he's bounced back with a win in game 2. And it looks like they're currently playing game 3 at the moment, so they're just trying to sort that one out to see who's actually going to start being favourite. Not against 61, definitely the higher rated player, but get tired, could all get to the end, maybe give away 3 points. Who knows? So let's have a look at some of these games. I actually want to zoom in a little bit more than this when I'm watching these games, actually. So let's have a look here. So click on games like this. So let's just have a look at Welsh Tiger against LJB. Let's just have a look how this happened, because we saw this, and is that I hope that sounds not too loud on the chess.com. Maybe somebody could tell me if I need to do this. So here we have the Caro Khan, and this is a typical variation here at this point. Black can play knight d7 if they want to then play knight f6 and recapture with the knight, rather than getting the double pawns. But actually there's a little trick here for white. They can go queen e2, and do not go and play knight gf6 now, because you will get checkmated in one move, which would not be very nice for you. So make sure you don't do that. Let me just can I mute that in some way? That would be really good. Sure, there's a setting up here where I can just turn that sound. Should be okay. I'm sure one of the guys will help me out in a second and tell me what to do. Okay, so instead he plays knight f6, which obviously gives him double pawns, but actually in this position it's not actually that bad to have the double pawns here. Both bishops can actually get developed quite easily, so this is not so bad at all. Okay, some sensible development as you expect. Here the Welsh Tiger, by the way, you can tell he's a tiger, right? Look at this. So here the bishop came out to pin the knight to the queen. Most people here, they want to maybe, I don't know, kick the bishop away or something like that, move the bishop around. But not many people here play queen d2, and the reason for that is that here black could have done bishop takes knight and doubling white's pawns. But this is exactly what the tiger wants. He's an aggressive player, because in doing so, he has, which means he could probably cast the queen side, which probably, and actually he'd be able to put a rook on the g file, and this g file will be open right up to this black king, which is exactly what he wants to happen. So you see LPJ spotting that and actually not capturing the knight. But in doing so, he just kind of gives white a bit more freedom. And here, he finally takes that G file is open, and they're straight away putting the rook on that G file. And this is the invasion starts to happen. You can see that this pawn, G6 might happen, but then they're going to be opening up to a check here. White's attack is just too fast, and a little bit defense here actually. Rook takes G7, nice move. Really nice move, in fact, in order to win this. And unfortunately, black is running out of checks here, and it's game over through to a nice checkmate. So nice little win there for the tiger in that one. So if I go back to the event over here and we click on the second one, we can see that the Welsh Tiger won this one playing with the black pieces. He pulls out a Caro Can. That's quite a bit of a surprise, actually. What, did he go for the exact same variation? No, different variation here. So you see slightly different setup Here there's a pawn on c3, which wasn't in the previous game. So LPJ is trying to get an attack going. It's exactly the right thing that he should be doing, to be honest. He's trying to swap pawns to open up the g-file like the Tiger did to him in the first place. But actually, you see here, this is the difference. This is the difference between a FIDE master and not a FIDE master. G4's played. Please swap pawns with me. I really want to open up files against your king. The Tiger's not going to do that, and he plays the move h4. The pawn could be out on a bit of a limb here later on. It might be lost. But actually, it keeps this side of the board closed, which means there's no rooks looking at your king. That's exactly what he wants, and he's going to start developing his attack on this side of the board. I don't know how it's going to look or where it's going to go, but this knight's looking pretty deadly, and these pawns are going to start swapping off to this white king. So let's have a look how it goes. Oh, so here, this is the move, pawn to b3. Normally you look at this move and you think, well, why is he giving away a free pawn? Well, it's because of that reason. He wants to open up lines against the opponent's king. Here he could open up the b line, or he could even open up the a line if the pawn takes. He's also trying to give himself the square on b4 for his knight too. So takes, and you see here the knight comes in. So white's technically winning here, but it's black with the initiative. Black's the one that's attacking, and actually we go back to here, and it's just really, really easy for black to start winning. And a beautiful tactic just to win the game. Rook takes bishop, and you can't take back because of bishop f5, which would skewer your queen to your king. So after queen takes rook here, bishop f5 would lose it. So that would be that. Rook takes, and okay, unfortunately black's a rook up here. It's game over. I mean, even queen takes knight is a funny move at the end. So they're on their third game at the moment. Looks like they're currently just playing this one. I'll just have a look at the start, see what's going on here. The Tiger is currently e3. It does allow the pin. I mean, I've said this all the way through, by the way. LPJ2306 has actually played some pretty decent chess. Right? They've actually played some pretty good chess, and they're opening here again. You know, there's nothing necessarily terrible about what they've done. You know, they played some really good stuff here. It's just the Tiger's just too strong, and we're currently in this kind of equal position. There's a little bit of danger coming in now because this knight is going to get shifted away from the defense of this pawn, and the rook is ready to pounce on it with the king in the center. You've got the bishop attacking the knight, queen's on it, but also pawn to b5. So I think maybe black's just taken a little too many spare moves here to get their king castle, but we'll see what LPJ does in the meantime. Because okay, this game is going pretty quickly. Let's just have a look at the other game. Okay, good. Okay, so unfortunately, Not a Game wasn't able to make the first round. He's in the wrong part of chess.com, but we were able to start it from game 2. And this is where Not a Game 61 of the Wolfhounds has pulled it back. So I'm interested to see what happens here. So Lightbringer pulling out as Vienna opening, and here after takes e5 is a really good move. And Not a Game 61 yet again. I mean, he did this against the Tiger, I believe, where in another players he played a bad opening here. What you have to do here is you have to play the move pawn to d5, and then of course if they take this way, then you can actually take with a knight on e4. But actually, just taking here is just bad. So the Lightbringer gets a really good opening here, and I mean, you'll just look at the amount of pieces that are developed. Now, Lightbringer's got 3 pieces developed, pawns in the center. Black's just got a queen out. You know, this should be Lightbringer's for the taking. And so takes. He goes in with the knight, which is playing 4 minor pieces. His queen's ready. He's ready to castle. How did he lose this match? This looks brilliant. Now he can't castle, and there's 2 pieces under attack. Does he solve this problem? Takes with the knight, and it looks great. But I do worry for his pieces. Both knights are hanging onto the bishops here. It's a little bit vulnerable, though. One gets, and actually here it's winning. Surely it's... Oh, no, knight f6 is a mistake. What's the bishop coming back for? Here he could take on f6 and would check, and after taking, he could have gone queen h5 check. And that would actually really disturb the king. The king would have to move. Black's king would be out in the open. White's got all the pieces developed. That would actually be very close to game. In fact, that would be really close to game over. In fact, takes. There's also a bishop f7 check as well. This is just so close to being game over. I think I prefer the queen h5 check because you can go king here, but then I'll go knight f7 check, and I won't forget to swap queens before taking a free rook. I mean, that looks pretty game over to me. But also, if he goes king e7, I guess we could jump in with the queen if we really wanted to. I mean, it's looking like it's nearly over, isn't it? We've even got a castle's queenside check as well to just really ramp it up. And I mean, queen takes f6 checks coming. I mean, this is game over. So Lightbringer had him. Lightbringer had not against 61 on the ropes here. Let him go once. He's swapping queens. Don't swap queens when your opponent's king's in the center. Queen h5 check. Easy move to make. Queen h5 check. Got to see these things. He's gone for a little. So he's actually tangled. He's gone up material. How does he lose? He's up material here. Massively up material. Okay, so here rook a5 is a bit of a mistake. It just gets pushed away. Loses one pawn. What happens in this game? Doesn't quite know how to win it, and you see Black's pieces start to come forward. He kind of dilly-dallied there a little bit. And this check, and okay, so it's still winning for White. How? Got to be careful. Oh, that absolutely gutted for Lightbringer. Absolutely gutted. Just a little care and attention required. Shouldn't have got to this point though. Should have finished him off after 10 moves. What an absolutely crazy game that was. I tell you what, this is a match really to watch. And here we have again Lightbringer giving up 700 rating points, and actually they've gone for a draw by repetition at this point. This match 1.5 each. Lightbringer of the Goats not against 61 of the Wolfhounds. Really too close to call at the moment. Anybody could win this. This is a really difficult endgame to win, to be fair, especially for somebody rated lower than 1,000. I'd even struggle to win this here. This is a tough one. I think though, what could he have done instead? So check in here. So here, check king here. Also, why not? So the point that one needs to do is if he goes here, he can take this pawn on h3, and there's nothing that White can do to stop him doing that, which would then give him this pawn on h4 to go through and promote. White can give some checks, but the king will just approach the rook, and it's not going to be close enough, I'm afraid. So that would have been winning for Black quite easy there. But okay, let's flick around some of the other games, because we've got this is the championship elimination. We need to go to the premiership elimination right now. So can we flick over to the championship elimination quickly? How would we do that? So that's match 1, that's match 2. There, match 3, match 4. These are the same matches. These are all the same matches, so it must be somewhere up here. Round 1, Tiger. Or is this matches that I put on? Okay, so here we go. Okay, here we go. This is the recent ones. So it's Ethan RJ, and it's Marine against Major Coast, which is Bulanov. Where are we at with these games? So yeah, this is the surprise actually in the first round. As Marine, giving up not that many rating points to Bulanov of the Sea Dragons, actually wins this game. So Bulanov sticking with his Scandinavian, which is a little bit of an unsure why he'd stick with this. I thought Marine could prepare for this, and okay, gets a decent position against it. Bishop pair for White, really important. And the bishops look quite good here, but I guess he's just going to eventually play c4 and just claim that he's got a bit of a space advantage. Okay, so he goes for the a-pawn instead and keeps it solid in the center. I don't know if I'd allow this, but maybe he's playing on the fact that actually Bulanov wants to win, and therefore if he takes that off, that'll leave him with opposite color bishops, which could give you amazing winning chances, but people are sometimes scared of it because if you get to just bishops, it would be a draw. So okay, so knight against bishop kind of thing. You see how Bulanov has actually got a little bit more activity, a little bit, more aggression coming forward. And okay, takes, and unfortunately just swaps off too many pieces. And actually this a-pawn, this is causing Black a bit of an issue. This a-pawn is so close to queening. That a7 pawn goes. What does he do? He just takes it. So here, I mean, the problem is, I guess if he goes like knight here, the problem is the bishop comes to attack the knight. And what are you going to do with your queen? Your queen can't stay connected to the pawn. So therefore, he had to go forward. And just this simple plan. Oh, and he just missed this little tactic. Check on a8, takes here. And of course, White wins because this pawn gets home. So yeah, really, really close there. We'll check up on Marine versus Bulanov in a second. Let's go cast our eyes to Decode versus Ethan RJ to see what's going on here. So this is one of their first games. I'm actually just going to click back for a second over here. Let's go back. Hang on. So Ethan RJ, win, draw for match 4. So Decode does get himself on the scoreboard at least. But I'm pretty sure that Ethan RJ is going to be pretty happy here. He only needs 1 more point to actually make it through. Let's just have a look at the draw actually and see actually what happened here. Because draw by repetition, Ethan RJ again, Decode 22-29 on his rating. Ethan RJ 300 points, more than 300 points higher. Decode sticking with sticking with 1v4. The orangutan, he loves this opening. I'm not so sure I love it. He actually gets a really good position here, and the point is that this pawn on c7 is actually backwards on an open file. So that means that it can't be defended by another pawn, and it also can't come forward. Like it wants to get to c4. It can get to c4, it's brilliant, but it can't. It's got to go through the point c5. And you see here how complete clamp down on that square. You can come forward 1 square, but defended by the bishop, but it's still going to be attacked by the white pieces long term. So I see how this develops, and okay, he decides to jump in immediately and just change the dynamic of the structure. So now this pawn's no longer backward, but he has got a better pawn chain than what black can kind of give. So these pawns are a little bit awkward. So if this pawn ever gets to here, at some point it could become a target on the c6 square. And okay, really beautiful bishop here on d6. Decode would be happy with that one. Kicks his opponent away. Ethan RJ is just like, you know what, I'm 3 points up already. I don't necessarily need to win. A few moves happen. He gets something going down on the king side here. The knight, the queen, and the pawn are looking dangerous, but to be honest, just the bishop will hold it all up. And actually, it's just the control over the files. Controls this file. The bishop blocks the A file as well. Decode probably would love to play on for a win here, but you see just how Ethan RJ generates some tactics out of nothing, some pressure over here, whereas Decode just can't kind of go forward. He really wants to attack this one. He just can't do it. He's not got the right pieces. You'd have to actually swap off the rooks, I think, but that's pretty difficult to do. So here, can he keep doing it? Can he keep swapping off the rooks? He doesn't, and actually they agree a draw here. So I'm just wondering here to here. So here, if we take this way, you can take back with the king or the queen. Can't take back with a rook. I know you can because the pawn's not under attack. I was looking to if we can like do some sort of sacrifice to get the pawn through. But actually, thinking about it, this bishop on a5 is actually just really, it's doing a great job blocking a5, actually just not doing very much apart from that. And so all of this action down the king side is just far too much in Ethan RJ's favour. And yeah, I guess he's done that so he takes himself 1 point from actually getting through. Right, okay, let's have a look at some of the so okay, click over here, let's go to the standings and go to the games. Ethan RJ Deco's, so they must be playing again, and then we've also got so let's just wheel that up. Ethan RJ Deco's match 2 draw, so there should be a Marine Major Coaster. They only got 1 match showing at the moment. Okay, well, if I search for Marine in here, we should be able to pull them up. So okay, right, so here we go. So you can see the first game there where Marine won. Looks like Bolanov hit back in game 2. Let's have a look, go back to see what happened before we have a look at game 3 at the moment. Looks like, is that right? Oh, hang on a minute, why was he black again? So I'm pretty sure that Bolanov was black in the first game, right? Hang on. Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah. I'm looking at it. Wow. They've played 3 games and Marine's 2-1 up. That's what's confusing me. I'm just so shocked by the result. We've got a potential upset here. So that's why I was looking at. So actually, Marine won the first game, went 1-0 up the game that we've just seen. Then Bolanov hit back in game 2, but then Marine has won game 3, and they're currently on game 4. Let's have a play through some of these games, because this is just absolutely unreal here. We could have an upset on the court. Bolanov is white here at the moment, plays an aggressive opening, looks like some sort of French defense in a way, gets in a very open position, and I'm guessing he's just very happy in these types of positions here. Really nice tactic just to win it. You see here that we've got this diagonal to the king, so the rook takes the bishop, and when it comes back, bishop c4, and that's game over for that one. So really nice little victory there. So actually, I tell you what, Marine will be very happy with what's going on now. He actually won the third game, so he's 2-1 up at the moment. Let's click on watch to actually just see where they're at the moment live, or a little bit of a delay on us at the moment. So you've got Bullenov here playing with the white pieces, representing the Sea Dragons, and Marine with the Pit Ponies, 2-1 up at the moment, and he's looks like he's holding here at the moment. Looks like he's holding. A minute left for Marine. Bulanov's going to push this. 2 minutes on his clock. He's definitely going to push for the win here. This could be... and in the other match in the semi-final, the top two spots is Ethan RJ is three and a half up it go. Only needs one more point to go through. So we'll see if he does that soon. But this is the match that's really catching my attention at the moment. We've also got a close match between Blackburn, the Goats, and Not Against 61 of the Wolfhounds. This is, and of course, we've got Decode as well playing against the Welsh Tiger. I expect the Welsh Tiger to win. Oh, sorry, Decode's not against that. Decode's in the other match here, isn't he? Welsh Tiger's playing against LPJ 2306, and I expect the Tiger to win that one. So here at the moment, I'm a bit unsure about who's actually doing what. If I was Bullenov, I would not be letting my time get down too much. I'd be trying to make the time pay. Marine's down to under a minute. This is when people can make really silly mistakes. I want to be up in the pressure, up in the ante. And Marine with G5. This is aggressive stuff, but I disagree with the idea. Your King's now completely exposed. There come no pawns in front of it whatsoever. With under 40 seconds left in his clock here, I'd be very surprised it doesn't come back to bite him in the rear end, shall we say, at the end, because that King is looking really exposed. So let's see whether Bullenov can actually take advantage here. He's swapping off some stuff on C5 here. I think he's winning a pawn, whatever happens. He's taking this pawn on B6 now. There was nothing that could be done. If he took with the pawn, then actually we would take the pawn on A5. So Bullenov maybe just thinking here, if I take on B6, does he take here on A4? And you can start to see how this 7th rank of blacks, just going across here, right where this King is, this is where I'd be worried. And actually White's King, even though there could be a check on the back rank and when the Rook moves, it's probably quite safe on H2 actually. So I want to see how this develops. This is anybody's game at the moment, but definitely Bullenov would be the favourite here. You'd take this back 2-2, so Rook down check might be an option for them. Rook C8 check here looks like the obvious move, and then you double up your Queen and Rook across the back rank. Can't be challenged, and that Black King is looking toast. So here rather than the 7th rank, we've obviously got the double up on the back rank, and you see Marine's clock down to 20 seconds. The check down here doesn't get him anywhere. He does a Desperado E5 move. I'm expecting, it's a nice little move actually, because Queen G8 covers the check, could force a mistake. Bullenov's up to a task though of not falling into this little trap, and unfortunately this is going to be game over very soon. I can see that some pawns being won. He brings the knight in. Why bring the knight in? Oh no, Bullenov, you've messed up right at the end. What a disaster that was. He's given up a perpetual check. He will be absolutely furious with himself. This was a one game. Bringing the knight in was just really sloppy. He took this pawn here, and I've got no idea why he's done this. This was a... Let's go back. I'm just going to go back, because that was just not... He's definitely off form tonight. It really is. He's going to have to pull it back. He is really struggling. Just let me click on this. I'll show you what I was thinking anyway at the end. That was terrible. Play, and he will be absolutely annoyed. So here, he's done a little trick here that he can take. Well, it's not a trick. He's just attacking it with the knight and the queen. But I've got no idea why he's not gone Queen G8 check now. Beforehand, the queen was actually stopping our queen going there, but when he put the rook on F7, Queen G8 checks on, the king squirts out, and then we've got rook takes H6, and you can see that we're just winning loads and loads of pawns here. King goes back to E7, and then we can just actually take G5, all with check. We're not having to actually think about this. It all comes with check. Where do you even move the Black King now? Okay, maybe the Black King goes here or something like that, but we've just picked up 2 free pawns, and this is absolutely everything that we want. How do we continue it from here, actually? You've got to be careful. Rook here doesn't work because they've got maybe a check here and then a check here for our king. So where would I go? I'd probably maybe even go queen here. I'd definitely keep something on this h file though, because I don't want to check on that side of the board. But maybe queen g6, just with the idea of swapping the rooks off. And actually, we're going to probably pick off these 2 pawns as well. But then again, could get dangerous if he takes on b2. But I'm still playing this line, and I still like this variation for us, for sure. I wonder if there's maybe a better version here. So after rook takes king here, can we do anything different? Or even here, can we do anything different here? I mean, swapping off the queens would also be good for us as well. But no, this would be good for us to play on. So yeah, really interested in what's going on in that one. Let's go back to the main events and see what we can see. So okay, Welsh Esports League Season 10 chess. You can see it as a chess.com event there. And okay, if we click to championship elimination, just to re-go back through to some of these. So okay, so Welsh Tiger is currently 4-0 up with this match to play at the moment here. So this could be the last game of the season for LPJ 2306 if he does not win this game as black against the FIDE Master. The Welsh Tiger, again, unfortunately heavy favourite. Sometimes you get these matchups. That group of death meant that there was 3 title players going for the top 2 spots. One of them had to get eliminated down to the 5th to 8 spots. And here he is playing this. So he's sacrificed a pawn here on d4. This is pretty typical play, by the way, of the Welsh Tiger. I played him in the Welsh Championships a few years ago, and the over-the-board ones, and he was doing sacrifices against my French defence. Let's just have a little play through the game here. So we get typical Chompovsky setup. This is for white, but it's still knight d2. It gives white the option of rather than going pawn to e3, e4 as well. Very, very, very common at the moment. And okay, he takes the centre. It kind of feels a bit Frenchy at the moment. This kind of structure with the bishop on c8, very French-like, even though we started out as a queen's pawn opening. This is very interesting. And okay, and he knows what to do against the French. This a3, b4 idea, and then c4 here. So he sacks the pawn. He gets loads of activity, and we still see LPJ's king on f8, which is not where it wants to be, but in the French you can sometimes get away with these things. The French defense, part of the reason why I love it so much and why I play it is because it is a little awkward. You can break the rules. You can sometimes move a piece back to where it normally starts in the game, and it's actually one of the best moves in the position. Really close structures, but here I think black's pieces are just struggling for good squares at the moment. White's going to win back the pawn on d4 at some point, and we're just going to see how it goes. And the Tiger loves this. Although I'm a bit surprised to see the Tiger down to 1.5 minutes here, actually. This is a little bit of a shock for me. I thought he would have been playing a lot quicker, so maybe he knows he's on 4 out of 4, just needs half a point, doesn't need to do too much, but he sacrificed the pawns, so there's no solid play. That's the type of player that he is. He likes active piece play to go through, and LPJ 2306 is definitely struggling here. We'll also check in afterwards Ethan RJ's match, because I know that he was 3.5 half up against Decode, so that could be close to finishing too. It could be Decode's last game at the moment as well. Okay, so knight b8, like I was saying in the French, you can sometimes put your pieces back to where they started the game. And okay, so this is interesting. So I think he's going to go for a knight g5, queen f7 kind of checkmate idea. There might be some sort of things like when the knight comes to g5 that he also wants to take on h7 as well. I think he's quite happy if the bishop takes the knight, because this dark square bishop in the French defense, really useful when all your pawns are on light squares. You need the dark square bishop to work in between it. And Welsh Tiger will still be happy with this. He's also vacated the e4 square for his knight to come in. You can see this weakness here on d6. He loves putting his knight straight away into this square on d6, and this is, the bishop can only swap itself off for one of the knights. It can't swap itself off for both knights, and that could be a problem for LPJ 2306. Some pre-moving going on there. So in chess.com, you can be able to, if you expect to move, you can do your move instantly backwards. So for example, here when these pawns were looking at each other, the tiger could do a takes b4 just in case they did a takes b4 anyway, so it would save him time on the clock. Maybe he's getting a little nervous here. He's, LPJ's got double his time. I don't think he'll be that nervous, but here he is. So he doesn't go for the d6 square. He's gone for g5, and he really wants that dark square bishop to swap itself off to try and come in. Oh, and that's game over immediately. And LPJ, you've actually played really well. I feel really sorry for you. I've actually played some really good chess over your debut season. Just unfortunately going down to a better player here and been a bit unlucky maybe in the pairings there of how they've fallen for this final one. There was just too much pressure coming down here. This checkmate here. I mean, maybe Queen E8 holds out a little bit longer, but to be honest, it was going to be very difficult, especially with this rook on H8 out of the game here. So he makes the final mistake. Knight takes here can't be taken because of the pin, so therefore it forks the queen and king. And okay, LPJ goes, well, I'm losing my queen for a knight here against the FIDE master. I think it's time to call it quits. Fair play to you. Thank you very much, Welsh Tiger and LPJ, for playing that. We'll see Welsh Tiger next week to see if he can get through. Let's go back and see if Ethan RJ is matching the Premiership group, because we know Not Again and Lightbringer is. So, okay, so they've stopped at game 4. Did they completely stop at game 4? Does somebody need to RJ to play game 5? Did they continue to play? I'm a bit confused with that one. Why did that not go? So let me just click on search for Ethan RJ. They should have kept rematching. So hang on, let's just have a look at. Okay, maybe just missed the last game then. Okay, so 1-2 draw, and there's game 5. Let's just click on it. It actually happened. So Ethan RJ did go through. Decode got half a point, but in the end was just too much for him. Let's just click on the info here. It doesn't say anything about the match, so I don't know why that was the case. But okay, Deco's last hurrah. I've seen him play this opening before. Actually, Deco's Scandinavian but delayed. Recapture on d5, and actually Deco gets a decent opening here. Deco could be very happy. Ethan's not played this brilliantly at all. He's got Deco's got the better opening here as black. So I don't quite know why. And they're both really playing fast here. Both over 440 on the clock, starting with 5 minutes to get to this point. 16 moves in, no thought going into it. But maybe Ethan RJ could think about his opening moves because he could come unstuck here. And the problem is that Ethan RJ is just so quick. It really puts you under pressure, but he's down on time. Hang on a minute, how is he winning this? I mean, this is completely drawn, if not better decode here at this point. Because black's pieces are further forward, there's more threats. I guess king c7 gets played now to defend the knight. He can be quite happy with how he did this. So how does Ethan RJ actually win? I mean, this could be... Okay, so he just comes in, attacks the rook, and then just takes a pawn. And, it's not the end of the world. So why are we not taking this pawn here then if we're decode? Is it a case that he loses this pawn? Is that the point? So that's why he plays g4. He just loses a pawn. It feels like though that this could have been prevented surely. So f4. So first of all, g3 is okay, but why rush f4 when you give your opponent this square? I'd probably want to see some improvement moves like king c6 first. c4 is actually a really nasty move actually for black, because that would really ruin this white pawn chain. In fact, c4 here would be beautiful. Because it forces this pawn to do something. That's creating some weaknesses. The pawn on a4 with no pawn on b3, that would be a really weak pawn to go after. You can already see that the black pieces are already targeting it. It might also give you the c4 square for your knight. I mean, obviously here it's a fork on the king and rook, but if the king was on b3, it just attack the rook. But there'd also be checks and stuff going on. That would be this knight's out of the game on h2, allows it to come into the game, and then just doesn't quite. I mean, like here he can't go back to e7 because of knight d5 check, which is what he wants to do to defend the pawn, but of course he can't do it. And because of this, just starts to go a little bit wrong, starts to drop a pawn, and now it's 2 pawns gone. Bad to worse, and all of a sudden Ethan RJ just cleans up, pawn by pawn, takes everything, and actually Decode played his last match tonight, so unlucky there Decode of the Wizards. Ethan RJ advances through to the final. Who's going to be playing against him in this match, we do not know. At the moment, it's going to be between Bulanov and Marine. Bullen of the Sea Dragons, Marine of the Pit Ponies. Could, of course, be Marine or Tutankhamun in the future. But let's just have a look before we check in on their match against Lightbringer against Not A Game 61. So let's scroll down here so you can see they played a few matches. It was 1.5 each the last time we left it. And it looks like Not A Game has taken the lead in this match at the moment. So let's just see how that happens. So I'm going to whiz through this one because I want to catch up with them live to see what's going on. So we get some sensible opening stuff from both sides. Actually, very sensible opening stuff, in fact. And just here, Not A Game 61, just proving that he's got a little bit more aggression in him, improving his pieces. You know, a simple attack on the pawn on b2, and Lightbringer does not care. He goes for. I mean, Lightbringer's got a decent opening here as well. You know, he can be quite proud of himself. You know, higher, more experienced, and do you know what? It's not bad at all. Okay, little trap here that was set up by Lightbringer. Bishop and queen lined up on this diagonal. Little trap here was to play pawn to e5. If it was his go, it would be attacking the queen and also threatening checkmate on h7. Spotted by Not A Game 61 with g6. And okay, we get some things moving around. And I guess this is where he's... Okay, bishop here disconnects the rooks. Doesn't feel right to me. But maybe it's okay. He attacks the pawn on c7, you see, with the rook, which is why the queen went back. But then f4, and then, this is the one. He was waiting for f4 to be played, and then he's got the pin coming back at you down the file, and so therefore he can't take it. And okay, so I skipped a bit too far ahead then. So we were at this point here. So takes, check, pawn forward. Oh, hang on, he still can't take the knight because the bishop's in the way of the other rook. See, this is what I would call a little bit of miscoordination between the pieces. The rook, bishop, knight, the rooks can't defend each other, so something like this means that you can't do pawn takes knight here. I'm guessing he could have done knight f6 here instead. That would make some sense, but maybe e5 then was a problem. So he did it this way, took another pawn, and there's just starts to edge it, and then another pawn goes. Here the point is that the queen's attacking the knight if pawn takes pawn, so he decides to go this way, and 3 pawns get chopped off, and it's death by 1,000 cuts or by losing pawns. And okay, white's king is just too exposed, and it's game over for that one. So really interesting match here. Let's just go back and see. So they must be playing live right now, and who's winning this one? Not A Game 61, 2.5 points to him, to Lightbringer's 1.5. So he looks like he's winning this game, as long as he doesn't promote the pawn and stalemate his opponent. Lightbringer, he has not done. And this will take Not A Game 61 of the Wolfhounds to 3.5 points here. And do you know what? He could be going through to, very close. He only needs 1 more point to go through. So Not A Game 61 of the Wolfhounds really getting, of course, Lightbringer. I'm hoping he can maybe cover me next week because I might have some games that I need to play over the board. So I might be late back for the stream. But okay, really close there. Let's go and switch around. Let me just stop my dog scratching around as well. Let's go back to the Premiership elimination because we really want to see. We know that Ethan RJ of the Artist has beaten Decode of the Wizards, but we've got Marine against. He's locked in a massive battle for his life. Not a title player, Marine, but still a very strong player. And what has happened here? Again, hang on a minute. So Marine took 2 out of 3 of the first few games. Then they had 1 draw that we saw, and then they had another. Bullenov will be absolutely fuming with this. He knows that he's the higher rated player, the title player in the match. They must be playing again here. So we get this Scandinavian again. And I'd love to see that over the board one day. You can try it against me when we play some Blitz games. And I guess maybe Bullenov's just happy just to draw with black, to be honest, and not lose like he did in the first game. And okay, not much has happened. Takes, b5. Takes. Okay, and you can just see all the pieces getting exchanged. And you know what? Bullenov would fancy his chances here at winning this. 3 minutes on the clock to Marine's 1 minute 24. He's got a little weakness here on d5 with rook d3, which is why he plays rook d3 straight away. But it's the case of, can he round that pawn up? And he's trying to get his king. He'd love to somehow get his king, well, not like a knight, but like king over here, so he can take this. It's just not happening for him because he'd start to lose these pawns now, because the rook would actually give up defending the pawn and actually go that way. So Marine here fights for his life in this rook and pawn ending. and he does get quite excited here. This has got to be good for black, surely. This has got to be good for black, but it's difficult to say how, actually. You know, is this actually one, or is it drawn? And when he takes the pawn, though, that's never going to work. Yeah, so and it's just a draw. Okay, so swapped off a few too many pieces there. So I'm guessing these two are playing, and I want to actually go back to this match because they might have given themselves just a break before clicking rematch. So they should be playing now, surely. So hang on. So why are they not playing? So hang on. They might have. So 2 points, 3 points. So Marine's on 3 points, and Bulanov is on 2 points. So it's 3-2 at the moment. They should have another game going on right now, so I don't know why that's not going. But we'll switch back to another event, another match within us. So 2 matches finished already. Welsh Tigers gone through for the Dragons, and also that's in the championship elimination. And we've got still a game between Lightbringer and Nottingham 61, which is happening. They're on match 6 at the moment. Really good, quite close. And we've also had Ethan RJ make himself through to the final. And Marine against Bulanov is still going on, or at least should still be going on from what I see. So we'll flick to that. Let's go and have a look at Lightbringer against Lightbringer against Nottingham 61. Checking on this live. So you can see here, just sit back and enjoy it for a second. Lightbringer fighting for his life. He cannot lose. Nottingham 61 needs 1 more point to go through. Oh, that's risky. What's the time situation? I mean, they're playing very fast. 20 moves, and they've still both got over 4 minutes 30. Almost feels like he's played too fast in this game. It really is do or die here. You know, you've got to have some faith in yourself here. He's got the queen up. How did he win the queen? Let's just go back to see when he won the queen. So why is Nottingham 61 not improved his opening? This is shocking. This is completely good for Lightbringer in one game, and then ended up losing it. So check, and he goes here and just loses his queen to a skewer from the rook. So Lightbringer should be wanting to win this. Knight d1? What is Knight d1 about? I mean, you give yourself an opportunity to lose the game. If this bishop moves and you don't see it, that could be really scary. I don't know why Knight d1's being played. I'm so confused. Why does Knight d1 be played? It feels almost like a bit of a misclick. And okay, we go in here. Pawn potentially comes back. He's trying to swap pieces off. The queen should easily beat the rook here, but we've seen Lightbringer before. Again, in terms of, well, especially compared to myself and also Nottingham 61. So winning 1 games is not a given. This is tough. He's trying to find a way through here, but swapping off pieces is definitely a good idea. If you can swap off pieces, get the queen against the rook. Make sure you don't get back rank mates against you. Which, do you know what? I'm actually thinking of calling it. This is the likeliest way that Black will win this game, is from back rank mate, and I'm going to be. I hope it doesn't happen because it's absolutely gut wrenching if it does happen. So, we really need to get. Please don't let that happen. That would be absolutely gutting. But he's nicked a pawn here. Now he's starting to create some real threats as well. There's some checks going on. If he can expose that Black King a little bit more, even better. But he doesn't need to. He could just retreat. I mean, why not get this knight on d1 on the better square? You know, just very simply here. And if it was there, it could come into a4. And oh no, this back rank mate thing could really happen now. He's gone down with the rook and nicked another pawn. He's getting away with it right now. But I am very worried for that back rank of Lightbringers. I think I'm going to turn even more grey thinking about this back rank, and so maybe he's listening to me because he's played a3 in it, but he's streaming himself as well. So, or at least I think he was streaming himself. So he shouldn't be listening to me at the same time if he's streaming. But thankfully, and nothing can cover a2 as well. There's not a light square bishop on the board for black, so you should be able to close this one out, Lightbringer. Knight e3, risky move. Okay, this is looking good now. The reason why I said 93 was risky, by the way, is that it's technically unguarded. So even though there's one attacker from black and we've got it defended by the queen, all it takes is for another attacker to attack the knight and it would be under attack. Or you could try and disturb the queen away from it. So for example, a move like bishop b8. There's also some discovered attacks on the queen here with this pawn moving forward. Something like this. Now, there probably isn't anything, okay, for black to win the piece. But if you do this in every single game, and you constantly move your pieces to squares where they're not, completely protected or not completely secure, there's going to be at some point tactics against them where you lose those pieces. So you need to be more secure. So here, for example, I'm pretty much always putting the knight on c3. I do not care about this check because I've always got king a2. There's no worries there now because this move a3 got played. So I'm putting the knight here and then I'll bring the knight into e4 to try and swap it off for a bishop and to try and progress it further forward. Knight e3 was a risky move. And okay, now he got into f5. He got to swap it off. This should be easy now. I can't see a way here, so we're live in this position. All right, now let me just go back and make sure that I refresh this match to see it. He swapped rooks, correct decision. Now it's just a case of converting, winning this game in a simple way. Oh, very nice. Picks up the knight. That could even prompt a resignation from not against 61, and it does. What a nice little tactic just to finish off. Didn't actually work, by the way. So he gave a check first. So here he gave a check to bring the king forward, and then check to attack the king and the knight at the same time. Not against 61, just not up to it. Could have played king d6 here to fight on, just to save the knight. I mean, his chances are very small anyway, but this is what he would have to do to fight on here. So really interesting. Not Lightbringer getting himself on the board to 2.5 points with an actual proper win in the game. He should have won. I think was it game 2 or 3? He should have won that one as well. We have a match on our hands here, people. Lightbringer is really fighting to stay in it. So let me just click off the active games. We'll just have a quick back to the Premiership elimination. So it's just a shame that the Marine versus Bulanov is not pulling through. Let me just click on this and see what's happening. They should be playing or should have been playing by now. Okay, right. So they were playing. Why isn't it coming up as watch? I don't know. So they did play another game, and it was 3-2 to Marine, but Bulanov struck back. Bulanov struck back and actually leveled the proceedings. Again, sticking with this same variation, but Marine changing it up a little bit and not getting into the same kind of open position that he did initially. Getting into this quite close position here and here. Bishop g3, simple attack on the bishop on d6 here, which is completely unguarded. Here, black can just play bishop takes bishop if he wants to. Plays c4 and just blunders a pawn. And okay, knight takes d4. What? Does he blunder a pawn? This can't be right. This doesn't work. It doesn't work. Queen takes, and the problem is, so what he wanted to do here, he's got to discover the attack on the bishop. So he thinks if I move the knight somewhere, I'm attacking the bishop. If I take the pawn, if pawn takes, then I can do queen takes bishop, and I'm back on level terms here. I don't want to be a pawn down, but he almost like tried to do too much to win the pawn back. And instead, after queen takes knight, the problem is the queen's attacking the knight on f6 at the same time, so he can't do anything after this, and he just says, well, I'm a piece down at this level. Title player, 4 minutes 47 on the clock, so loads of time. He just gives it that one up. So this was bringing it back to 3-3. Really, really close match here. So let's just click on these players. They should be playing right now. I'm not coming up as oh, there we go. Watch is on now. So we have not. So 2 draws so far. They've traded 2 wins apiece each. Let's go back into the action with these two to see how close it is as well. So. Okay, Marine's playing with the white pieces here. You can see it's 3-all at the moment. It's first to 4.5. Could we go to an Armageddon after 8 games? This would be the exciting thing. Okay, so what has actually gone on so far? So Marine's here happy with his bishop pair. Looks like Bulanov played the Scandinavian again. But the bishop pair gives white a bit of an advantage here. And okay, so we saw in one of the games this pawn get down to a6 at one point, and in the end game it was super strong. And here Bulanov has learnt from that past mistake, blocked it off by putting the pawn on a5 so it can't advance any further. Makes a lot of sense actually as well. So okay, I don't like that move. Bishop d2, it just strikes me as not the right square. Unless he's going to go c4 and put it on c3 on this diagonal. That's kind of where I'd want to put it, or I'd want a more aggressive move played. So maybe he's got something in mind here. They've both got way over 4 minutes on the clock. Surely they can't have played perfectly till this point. I think this is the problem. The reason why I'm not playing and these guys are is that I'd be sat there thinking, trying to find out what is actually the best move in this position. And unfortunately, in Blitz Chess, you cannot think for that long. You have to just make a decision and go for it. And you sometimes have to put your opponent under pressure and ask those questions. So, okay, we saw some exchange of pawns here, and I think this is going to favour Marine. This light square bishop is really strong on this square on f3. Okay, the pawn on b7 is going to move. It's going to come forward. That's a given. I don't think he's going to lose it. The problem is the knight on f6. Knights are only good if you've got good outposts for them. And the only outpost this knight has got is this one on d5. And the problem is when it gets to d5, that bishop can at any moment chop it off the board and take it. And that's either going to force a weak pawn coming to d5 at any moment, or white can save this for later on. They don't have to do it straight away. So it's just a case of what happens here. So Bolonov's there going, please take my knight. And he does. I might have. I guess he didn't have a choice then. So the point is here is that rook d3 would potentially, it would fall to knight f4 here. And white does not have rook takes rook because we would actually then go knight takes queen check before recapturing the rook. So here he'd have to play rook e4 or rook e5, which doesn't feel quite right to me. Maybe he wanted to shine somewhere else. I mean, we can still play knight f4 if we want to. It's defended by the queen. But you can see how he's kind of thinking, I don't really want to give that activity there. So he goes back this way. Okay, let me just refresh the screen just to make sure that I'm live as well, because I want to watch the game go through. Although we are on a bit of a minute delay. And I guess here, Bolonov's maybe got a decision to make here. He's got an opportunity to exchange off a load of pieces and maybe go for a draw. But the white's got a 3-on-2 advantage over on the queen side. And the 3-on-2 advantage on the queen side might give white a better chance to create a pass pawn later on in maybe 5-10 moves time. You could start to see that playing, or it might fizzle out to a draw. Bolonov might be happy for a draw here because it would give him white in the last game. That's my stomach eating too much. So I wonder what Bolonov's doing here. He's in the tank at the moment. Evening up the time, 3 minutes 23 minutes 30 on both sides of the clock. Marine has played exceptionally well. Actually, I've played Marine a few times over the board, and I've been quite lucky, I think. The opening just seemed to go really well for me. And I would argue, some quite routine wins. I think, though, that if I don't get the opening right against Marine, then it can be a very dangerous player. And on his day, can take on anybody. I'm just inside his head at the moment, which is good for me. But, okay, Bolonov just creating a bit of pressure here. A little bit, just asking the question, you know what? I've pinned your rook to your queen. You've got to be careful about what you do. Okay, swapping off. He's taken control of the D file down here, so we can come down to D2 or D1. Marine doesn't know which one he's going to come into. Probably D2 is where he wants to go. This could happen. B7 longer a weakness. A4 could be a weakness. This could be something that Black wants to target. Black's the one in control here and wants to target White's pieces. King F1 is a really nice move. He wants to just bring the king to E1, and then his king and two rooks will control both of the invasion squares. I think, though, the rook goes back here. Maybe Bolonov would take the draw, so he gets white in the last game. I don't know. He's got a little bit of pressure here, though. Brings it back, and now he needs to improve his king. So white's going to push the rook forward to defend b2. And now Black needs to improve the king now. So I don't want to repeat. We could play g6, king g7, maybe do something like this. Or maybe he's playing to tempt Marine into a half point. Oh, he swapped rooks. I was not expecting that. Oh, Marine's playing for a win? This can't be right. Does not feel winning here. Well, there is a little kind of problem here that the back rank was on, and the move wanted to play for black. Marine maybe spotted something here. So the move I wanted to play was rook c2, which after b4 would mean that we could take c3. But I also wanted to play b6 when after b4, rook c2, or something akin to this. And if takes the pawn, I was just going to take back when we were actually winning the pawn on a4, and we'd be a pawn up. It'd still be quite level. The problem is we've got this back rank checkmate problem. So notice how I was saying that, black swapped off rooks there. I would have wanted to improve the king first, and it just in these variations just come back to hurt. So he swaps off, and now, Marine's just building up a bit of a head of steam. He's not winning. This rook will come back here. Let me just refresh for us. This rook will come back to d7 to defend the b7 pawn. So not in any danger of losing at this stage, but it could so happen in the future that actually does change. Just waiting for it to load up. Please load up. Okay, we'll come back. I'll come out of it and come back into it. Or is my chess.com just going pretty slowly? There we go. Okay, so we've got some exchange of pawns here. We're back, and like I was saying, I don't think Bulanov's in any chance of losing this just yet. The pawns are actually pretty safe. This pawn on c3, this is the passed pawn that's going to go forward. This is the danger, and he's made the decision now to go king g7. You can tell how he's just misplayed this, and Marine is just sniffing an opportunity. Bulanov's got to be more careful than Marine has, because this pawn could create some problems. However, it should still be drawn, and I'll say that right now. This should still be quite an easy, draw for the black pieces. Here, there shouldn't be any issues. You can even start to try and swap pawns with g5, because even after the capturing, even if your king took, even if rook takes f7, the problem is you can take on c4. There shouldn't be too much going on there. But h6, okay. I wonder if Marine can actually. Do you know what? He's going to push here. I don't know how, but I think he's going to try. I think he realizes that having black in the last game is when Bullock's right. And so therefore, I think he feels the need to push here and really take Bulanov all the way. So what? I haven't actually checked in with the chat today on Twitch, so it's also because I haven't got it loaded up, so I might just load it up actually. Just to see what we're saying in there. Make sure that I mute it, of course, as well. Go. Hi everybody, thanks everybody for the chat comments as well. So having a little quick read back. Did I miss anything, expert? No, not at all. Good. Okay, so yeah, if you are in chat, you want to send us comments and a question, then by all means, please do so. This is a cracking match we've got here between two fantastic Welsh players, both trying to make it into the final to be crowned Welsh Esports champion next week. Whoever wins this will have to take on Ethan RJ of the Artists, making his debut season. But we have here returning regulars, Marine of the Pit Ponies, played one match last season, stepped in for Tutankhamun, and now we can't get rid of him, which is a good thing, by the way, too. So they're forming up a good partnership with the Pit Ponies, who and then they're playing against last season's second place Bulanov, or here is chess.com username to Major Coast of the Sea Dragons. He just nicked the pawn there. Did I miss that? Could be the decision not to take the draw. Actually, a real big mistake here. So g4, g5, and then f5, and after takes, rook check. King here takes, and then here maybe he just missed that after rook takes h6. Black's going to do rook takes c4. There was also another opportunity here just to take back, and if the problem is if king takes pawn, rook takes pawn, check actually is okay. So why did he not do this? Check. I guess the king could be quite active. Maybe king here. And if you go back to defend the pawn, then maybe the king goes to f4 and starts to mop this one up. So actually that was a real pivotal moment in this match, actually. Let's reload to the live position. Bulanov just taken an extra pawn there on the... And actually the problem is that this pawn on c5, it's a single pawn going through. It's the furthest one advanced, so it is dangerous. Black definitely needs to keep an eye on it. But the problem is here, we've got 3 against 1. Which means that we're going to have 2 connected pawns coming down the board here at Marine. Connected pawns, they are unstoppable once they get going. This is an absolutely huge moment in this match. Marine down under 15 seconds on the clock, playing super quick, knows he's in trouble. Bulanov knows he's got his man exactly where he wants him. Loves an endgame, does Bulanov. It's what he's known for. And I think that Bulanov knows what he's doing here. He's up to 50 seconds. Marine is in big trouble here for the Pit Ponies. They've still, it would only take it to 4-3, so they still have to play the final match. But this is where it's at. And okay, there could be some tricks here. This is really close. Marine is really fighting for his life. Does Bulanov go for a checkmate trick, or does he just keep it simple? Goes forward slowly. Can't move his king out to the e-file because rook check and then the pawn promotes. It's one of the things to avoid. But here, he doesn't need to do that. He's got pawns that are going to shelter his king in any one of these squares. Checkmate threatened now. Marine's obviously going to see it, but I'm afraid that's forced checkmate. Right now, rook c1 check, king h2, g3, king h3, rook h1 checkmate. It was missed, but I think it's checkmate this way anyway. And oh wow, Marine refusing the repetition. And Bulanov takes the game, takes it to 4-3, and they've restarted immediately. I think I am just going to check back in. I believe that... let me just check something on the other match that we had, because we did have Lightbringer playing against Not Again, and I believe that they would have finished by now. So I'm just going to flick over just to give you an update on this. We cannot take our eyes off this match. Marine needs to win with Black against the Candidate Master to keep himself alive in this matchup. So let me just have a look. Results, and let's go to games, and then go to champ elimination. How did Lightbringer go on in the last game against Not Again 61? Okay, so they played match 6. I can't see anything else pulling through, so I'm just going to have a little search. To see how they did. So Lightbringer won that game. Lost a load of other games. Are you still playing? First to 4.5. So Not Again 61 got 1, 2, 3.5. Lightbringer was on 2.5. No, there's no break at all. There's no break. I don't know where Not Again 61's gone. Let me check my emails in case he's emailed me to say, what do I do? I don't know why I didn't keep rematching. So I've just sent him an email, but I mean, it was quite clear that he needs to play 8 games and it's first to 4.5 tonight. So I don't know why you've stopped playing, but we'll we'll see what happens. Do you know what, Ethan? That's a fantastic observation. These guys are playing exactly the same openings and getting the same endgames, which is, I'd like to say, it's actually from a chess perspective, it's actually really quite interesting. to see their changes from game to game, how they've improved. So we remember seeing that Marines A pawn being on A6 in one of the lines, and the next game time they played that line, Bulunov stopped by pawn on A5, and actually that was the end game that he just won. So from a chess perspective, really exciting. But for me here, I mean, yeah, I prefer to see something a little bit different. But do you know what? When you're fighting to get through to the final, and you want to win the Esports Welsh Championships, and of course the Premiership elimination, get that first spot for your team. Maybe they're just saying, I know this opening, I want to stick with it, and it matters a lot what I want to do with this. So, and I think definitely the Twitch chat should put RJ Chess's last comment on there. That's a bit of banter going on there. I like that a lot. RJ Chess saying these guys playing for second place anyways, because he's saying he's the favourite next week against either of them. And you know what? He probably is the favourite. But I tell you what, neither of them are going to lie down. And Bulunov here in the hot seat at the moment, 4-3 up. He's got 2 chances to put Marine away. Even if he loses this match, he'll have an Armageddon match to play against Marine in reserve. So it's just a case of not losing. And do you know what? Hang on, what's going on here? Have you completely missed? I need to count the pieces when we get here. And actually, isn't Bulunov like a knight up here? When did this happen? Let's go back. This is absolutely huge. Marines dropped to knight. So, okay, hang on a minute. It wasn't the same opening, was it? There's the London system again. So we had the same thing. And oh my days, Marine, tired after playing 7 games, falls for a cheap trick. Bishop a6, it's a really good positional idea to swap off the light square bishops. White's light square bishop is pretty good in amongst these dark squared pawns. And okay, takes, queen a4 check. Didn't castle quick enough, and the queen attacks the king, but also attacks the knight on a6, and there's no way to actually stop that from happening. And Bulunov must be absolutely delighted. He was pushed all the way in this game, so hard. Maybe he's probably even, I wouldn't put it past him to have offered a draw here at this point, to see actually what's going on, because he only needs half a point to get through. So it's a case of he's just the piece up, candidate master Marine can't resign. Maybe Bulanov's just, he's got 4 minutes left on his clock. Marine's down to under 3. It should be quite easy for Bulunov just to convert this. But though you keep playing moves, you keep giving yourself a chance. Anything can happen. But this is, there's so many ways to go about this. Start swapping off all the pawns. So that's why King H1 was played, because of the pin on the e-pawn by the queen. So e4 is happening next. But yeah, I do wonder, we talk about openings as well, what openings they're going to play. I've seen that Bulunov has been playing the Scandinavian quite a lot. Very easy, and I expect Ethan RJ would possibly. So would Bulunov switch back to the Cairo Khan, or would he learn something different for you? But then again, even, I looked at your opening against Deco, and it wasn't looking very good against the Scandi. So maybe you need to look at that line. I thought Deco got a fantastic opening against you in the game that you eventually won, but you had no right to win out the opening at all. So maybe I'll have a look at it for the Welsh Championships, because we do have a bit of an underlying kind of extra kind of there's 2 stories really underlying to this championship. So we have the Welsh Esports League Championships happening right now. We've got FIDE Master Welsh Tiger, Candidate Master Bulunov, even Marine. We've got Candidate Master Ethan RJ, myself as well as a FIDE Master. We should all be playing in the Welsh Championships in-person event over Easter. And that is going to be obviously a really huge thing. We're all competitive with each other, and include Pedrada88 from International Master from last season as well. He should be going to be there too. And then, of course, the story within that story is results of that tournament would probably have a long bearing on who's actually going to go to the Olympiad in Uzbekistan in August/September, whenever it is. And as we see here, Bulunov just slowly but surely go forward in this position and take away Marine's hopes of getting through to the final. He's got complete control here. I can't even see how he goes wrong, actually. Bulunov will be relieved, having lost 2 games early on. Game 1 and Game 3 he lost in this matchup. I do not know how what's going through his head right now. Marine blunder the piece a couple of games ago. Didn't go for a repetition in the last game, ended up losing. and then blunder the piece in this game. These last 3 games have been absolutely devastating for Marine and the Pit Ponies. Yeah, unfortunately, this is not going to be enough for Marine at this point. There's just so many ways to win a piece up here. At this level, it's just so different, especially with the time advantage too. Bulanov's just having fun. It's almost like a parade, shall we say. Okay, you come up here. That's it. You can watch as well. Just don't pull my earphones out. Okay, I guess he could argue that he's got a really beautiful knight on f5, but I mean, the problem is White's got 2 knights, and they're both attacking weaknesses. You know, it's not even like he's got any counterplay. So I do feel for him. He has to play on, though. You know, he has to hope for a blunder by Bulanov, but I just don't see how it's going to happen. I mean, Bulanov's maybe just thinking about how do I actually remove this knight from this square at the moment. Please don't play Queen d4, though. That would be a bit of a... That's the kind of blunder that Marine's hoping for. And surprisingly, this little one's been with... Yes, okay. She's been well behaved, though, haven't you, for a change? Of course, we're seeing this on a little bit of a delay. Do you know what, Ethan? I think Ewan's a really good player. I mean, obviously he beat me last time, didn't he? So yeah, Ewan. Do you know what? Even I was wondering, is Ewan Cave actually wanting to play in this? I was hoping that you could maybe ask him for next time around. It might be a good idea because I think he would be a good addition if we can get him into it too. But okay, we're just seeing knight h3. Really interesting decision here by Bulanov to actually come back to this h3 square. Not quite sure what the plan is. He's actually just retreating. I mean, he just played for time, actually. I see what he was doing. So exchange this knight in f5. So he wants to play knight d4. But he couldn't beforehand because the pawn on f4 was attacked by the queen. So therefore he brought his knight to h3 to defend this pawn on f4 when he was doing this maneuver. So this was Black's best piece. You get rid of that and there's going to be no problems. And he looks like he's found a way to do that. Marine doesn't want to swap pieces. He wants to keep playing. So he's going to just do everything he can not to swap. But this is knockout chess now. And knight g5 is a key move because Marine was eyeing this knight coming into this e4 square, which is now covered by the knight on g5. I don't really see how. And also there's also a threat here of the e6 pawn dropping off. This could be very close to game over, people. I can't see a way out for Marine here. He has played ever so well. Been so unlucky in these last 3 games. Has he lost the last 3 games? And he must have done because it was 3-2 to Marine, and so he's lost 2 games or maybe 3 games in a row. Look at it. It was 3-2, and he was 2-1 up, and then they had 2 draws, so it was 3-2. So he's lost 2 games in a row to go 4-3 behind, and he could be losing this one as well, or should be losing this one. Under 20 seconds on the clock now. This could be where it's all over. There could not be much more here. I think this. This is just hopeful chess now. White can just take on e6. It's gone. The forks the rooks. That pawn goes. The queen's also taking this pawn here. This could be resignable now, and we could be seeing Bulanov make it through to his 2nd final in the row for the Sea Dragons. At this moment in time, he is. I can't see any way back for Marine, and that would make it a Bulanov versus Ethan RJ final, which is a rematch of one of the first matches that we had in the group stages, which went Bulanov's way. But maybe look at the ratings, and Ethan RJ is thinking of, that was my first match. I kind of wasn't really thinking about what was going on, and he's got his head in the game now, and he's not dropped many points at all. He only just dropped half a point to Decode, but he was already 3-0 up at that point, so he would have been pretty happy. But this is looking like a Bulanov victory. Under 10 seconds now for Marine, 6 seconds left. Is he going to run out of time? He's got to move super quick. He is, and that just loses the knights, does it? I think Bulanov can just take that knight. There's no back rank checkmate, I'm afraid. So this is going to be game. minute and a half on the clock for Bulanov. He's just waited for the time pressure to tick down. Brilliant play. Oh, he goes for a tactic. He's showing off now. Showing off, and he wins on time in the end because Marine was not expecting that move. Just to point out what actually happened there, Queen H check, forces Rook takes Queen, and then he was going to come in with Knight F7 check to fort the King and Queen here, and he would be still an entire Rook up after taking the Queen. Okay, that was easy, but I mean there was many ways to win it. Absolutely amazing comeback by Bulanov. 5-3 winner in the end. He was 3-2 behind, or 2-1 behind as well to Marine. A great fight by Marine, who does give up some rating points there and a title to Bulanov. So can be really happy with his performance. But okay, settles for the 3rd and 4th spot in the end. So I guess really it's a bit of a rundown really about who actually made it through to the finals next week. Who's going to be playing against who at this stage? Did we get a resolution to not against 61 against Lightbringer? What are those two players playing at? Because they played 6 games. It was only 3.5, 2.5 match. So I'm just wondering what actually happened there. So we've got the results. So let's go to Championship elimination. Well, let's start with the Premiership. So you see here we've got not against 61 against not Lightbringer. 3.5, 2.5 only. Then one person needs to get to 4.5 points to go through. So don't know why they've stopped. Tiger obviously beat LPJ 2306 pretty easy. One of them needs to get through to play against the Tiger next round. So I don't know why they've matched. Let me just see if I can get actually not against 61 back on. Let me just email him anyway. If not, he will actually, unfortunately, have to be defaulted if he doesn't come back. So we'll have to see that. This is... let me just check that Lightbringer's still around as well. So who of them wants to play the Welsh Tiger? Probably neither of them, is probably what we'd say. So in the Premiership elimination, Ethan RJ beat Decode 4.5 half. Got to 4.5 points. No need to play the last 3 games. And actually went through. There is an extra game here. Did we miss it? It definitely was played because when I clicked on them, Ethan RJ won the last game to get through. And then we had Marine versus Major Coast, who's Bulanov of the Sea Dragons. Absolutely amazing. He got through. Bulanov came back into the match, winning the last few games to take it 5-3. An absolutely phenomenal contest between the two of them. So we're going to see about the other two, but I can't guarantee that we're going to get Not Against 61 back into the game. So we do not know which one of these is going to play against the Welsh Tiger. So I don't know where they disappeared to. So we'll have to have a think about that. But we've got no more games going on at the moment. So this is something that's probably going to have to be done either later tonight or maybe on another day where we'll to see who actually makes it through between Lightbringer and Not Against 61. I don't know where they disappeared. But I tell you what, we are kind of towards the end of the stream, I think. I mean, absolutely phenomenal chess going on. The Championship elimination bracket, actually, we still don't know who actually is going through between the Wolfhounds and the Goats. It could be a surprise package. They're going to be playing a FIDE Welsh Tiger next week to see who gets the 5th spot rather than the 6th spot. But in the Premiership elimination, as expected, Ethan RJ gets through for the Artists against the Wizards of Decode. He got through pretty comfortably, but his openings are a bit dodgy, but his blitz chess towards the end was great. And of course, Bulanov, the Sea Dragons, coming back against a Marine of the Pit Ponies. So Bulanov v Ethan RJ next week is going to be an absolutely huge matchup. I cannot wait. Thanks very much for joining me, everybody. And give it a like and subscribe to the channel as well if you can as well. It helps us all out. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you all next week. Bye-bye. Cool. Thank you. Sorry, what's your name, young man? Fantastic. Well, good to hear it, and obviously it's great to train new people up doing new things, isn't it? As well. So, okay, what can I turn off then? Turn off everything apart from Discord.